First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Joseph Fain.
Good afternoon, everybody. Here's a quick look at your forecast at 12:18 now. Temperatures have been warming up nicely with the full sunshine we've received this morning, even after a cooler start, which briefly got down to the upper 50s for a few spots out there. Now, though, it's mostly in the low 80s range, and there might be a few spots out there left in the upper 70s, but still a little bit of room to warm further as we get into this afternoon. Right now, Sulphur's the warmest at about 86 degrees, but dew point back at 59 leaves the humidity below 40%, and that's being assisted by a few gusts from a west to northwestern breeze, helping to keep things comfortable out there. In general, dew points across the board are back in the low 60s to upper 50s, and that should keep it quite pleasant even as we get further into the heat of the day during this afternoon. Of course, satellite and radar not showing a lot of activity on either radar side or satellite. You'll have a hard time trying to even find stray little bits of cloud cover out there, so that means an unobstructed view if you're enjoying some of that sunshine. And for this evening, it'll make for a good sunset as well. If you want activity in the skies, that's much further off to the northeast, where Helene is starting to merge with a broader area of low pressure, and that is still bringing torrential rainfall to many areas in the mid to southeast as they deal with storm cleanup. We'll talk more details on Helene's progress in a moment here, but our own breeze is starting to shift around a little bit and is more out of the northwest through this afternoon. Still pushing some gusts around 15 to upper teens as far as those miles per hour gusts, but not quite as high as yesterday, which might be nice for some of you. If it was a little too breezy for your taste to hang out on the back deck for dinner, you might have more luck this time around, especially as temperatures are still looking pretty pleasant considering the heat out there. Highs for the day expected to top out in the middle to just barely upper 80s range, but with the humidity so low, the heat index won't really be adding on to that by much of a tangible amount here. So if you have outdoor plans, it's the perfect day for it, and that goes for this evening too, as temperatures won't be too much different. And again, you should have a great view of the sunrise, provided there's no trees or buildings in the way. Now, otherwise, temperatures will be cooling down at least a little bit heading into tomorrow morning, and you'll find it back in the 60s for Saturday. So not quite as cool as this morning, but still quite pleasant heading out the door. And it looks to stay that way through this weekend. High pressure remaining in control, while again Helene merges with low pressure off to the northeast, which itself will likely be drifting eastward a little bit as well, rather than back into our area. That should keep it sunny and dry for at least the next couple of days. Now let's talk a little bit about Helene. Still bringing torrential rainfall to many areas further northeast on the eastern coast and just a little bit further inland, but it's lost most of its strength. Still has winds up to 45 miles per hour as of 10 a.m. So that left it as a tropical storm, but it continues to weaken, and most winds down to 40 to 30 mile per hour gusts at this point. And that low pressure core expected to drift a little further northwest. Now, this could still cause some travel issues today and maybe some tomorrow as well. So if you're heading somewhere further east, you'll want to check for cancellations or delays before you continue with those travel plans. Now, unfortunately, it is still hurricane season, and there are some areas to watch. These spots in the Atlantic, including Tropical Storm Isaac, though, look like they'll stay over open water, so no concerns there. But the National Hurricane Center has outlined a new area in the Western Caribbean that are potentially becoming a broader area of low pressure by the middle of next week. But as of right now, no issues for Southwest Louisiana, though we will be watching closely for any changes as we finish out hurricane season. Your local forecast should remain comfortable through the weekend. Nice, dry, and sunny with a few more mornings in those 60s.